Welcome to the podcast Psychodrama with Nomad Girl. It's me, Jansay Ahmed Sadek, a nomad girl from Kazakhstan, and I do this podcast in a collaboration with the Psychodrama Association for Europe. In this podcast, you will hear psychodramatists all over the world who share their experience and ideas. Our aim is to make psychodrama world closer. You can find the podcast on different platforms such as Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, YouTube, Anchor, Spotify, and others. If you want to hear more guests and stories, please support the podcast on patreon.com. The link is in the description. Your help means a lot. Hello everyone. This is the first episode of the podcast, and our guest for today is INA HOGENBOOM from Netherlands, psychodrama practitioner, educator, and trainer. So how do you feel today? How was your day?
It was a busy day with all kinds of different things. 8 o'clock this morning, I had a meeting with Mario Cossa about a workshop that we're going to give together from the Therapeutic Spiral Model. Then I had some not so interesting work about accreditation. Then I had a client with whom I work with psychodrama and EMDR. And then I took a little bicycle ride, and now I'm here with you.
Yeah, it was quite a busy day.
Yeah.
So you're the guest as a representative of Europe.
Aha! Wow! I'm honored.
Yes. Yeah. By the way, when you talked about TSM, I also looked at your recent events and future events. I saw that you're going to give some training or seminar on neurobiology of trauma, and then you had trauma survivors internal role atom seminar. Yeah, so it seems like you're deepening into trauma topic. Can you describe how did you come to this field and connect it with psychodrama?
Yeah. Well, it started when I was working as a psychologist. I'm a psychologist too. So I was working in advisory psychological bureau. I don't know how you call it in English, but we had a lot of police men, firemen. They were all like traumatized because of their jobs. They have to do all kinds of jobs that are a heavy load on their shoulder. So I was used to seeing a lot of these people, and all the time I was thinking about how can I use psychodrama with that. And then I knew that Kate Hutchins, she had this model, but I never met her. It just didn't happen. But 3 years ago, I met her at a conference in Sweden, and there I did my first workshop with her, Stephen, and somebody else. And then I really liked it. I liked the way they work. I liked the structure they are having. And especially I like how they are working with projective identifications. So I followed 2 courses in Zagreb. Then the corona pandemic happened. And now I'm working a lot online with all different people. And I'm working a lot with Kate Hutchins. Mm-hmm. And the neurobiology is with Mario Cossa.
And what most you like in this work with traumatized people?
What I like is how it is based on the neurobiology findings, the new theories, the new philosophies, the new research. All the findings are about how to soothe the body and how the body is involved in trauma. On the one part, when the trauma happens, how it is, how the body reacts and what the body does to and what people do to just survive. And then at the other side is, how do you cure from that? How do you recover from being frozen like 15 years in the trauma memory?
Yeah.
So it's based on a lot of new findings, and it is the other thing which it is based on is to create a lot of safety. So before working on the trauma, you have to strengthen the people, to strengthen them with um, self-compassion, with strength, with coping styles, how to stay in their body while they're having these difficult emotions. So the first part of the model is strength-based. So make people more resilient in order to, to look at the trauma, to confront things in the trauma, and to overcome that and grow to post-traumatic growth. In a group, because you also need the cohesion and the safety of the interpersonal connections.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. As I understand, it all is done in a psychodramatic way. So they have role plays, protagonists, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then you add the TSM model also upon
Yeah.
it.
And another really interesting thing, because it differs from psychodrama in a sense that you work with one protagonist, as is normal in psychodrama, but because of the projective identifications which are sent out to other group members, they are picked up, they are guided into the model, and everybody in his own place or her own place is their own protagonist. So everybody from the group profits from one psychodrama, because within the psychodrama of the protagonist, everybody has his or her own learning space or learning subject.
Yeah. And how do you think is this model can be used to other issues and problems of people beside trauma?
Yeah, especially the first part. Strength-based, compassion-based. A lot of clients I have, they have a lack of self-compassion. Learning them how to view themselves with no shaming, no blaming is a really important thing for other clients, but also from other people. Like for me too, it's really nice to feel my growth in self-compassion.
Yeah, good. And as you know, it's almost March. It's 1 year since pandemic started, the COVID situation, and you were one of those who were enthusiastic to meet the new online world and working online, which is actually unusual and rare among psychodramatists.
Yeah.
Yes, and also me personally, I took your course on Zoom drama. So, when already 1 year passed, how do you feel now about it, about online work?
I still am very enthusiastic, because why that is that I have to say I have worked in the IT business. So I am a psychologist, but I worked for 15 years with IT projects. So I'm not afraid for technical stuff. So that is an advantage, I think. Um, I'm still very enthusiastic, because it is a new way of learning, and it fits with psychodrama, which is finding new answers for new situations, making sure that you create the spontaneity and the creativity to learn and to come up with creative responses. And I do. I'm learning a lot, and I'm finding and refining, and I'm still um, amazed about how creative one can be working online, and how the connections, how the tailor is working online, and how people are um, they do not read the bodies, they cannot feel the bodies, but they look at each other and they find the cues more in the faces. I'm fascinated about that.
Mm-hmm. And what are your thoughts about future of psychodrama online?
I think it will not go away. Like how I'm working now, I'm working with Kate Hutchins. We are doing a women's group together, and we are so adjusted to each other, and we are so skillful now working online using the model. Of course, we still miss the physical contact, because sometimes when somebody gets into traumatic memories, you want to hold this person. That's not possible, and that's a pity. But for education, it is really, I don't think it's going to go away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course, there are good sides of that. It connects the
Yeah,
world better, and you have a lot of opportunities. But most people miss that
yeah,
bodily sensations and
yeah,
each
yeah,
other. Yeah, right.
yeah.
When I first met you in 2019 in Krakow,
Mhm.
uh, you introduced the simultaneous action observer strategy, yeah, in
Yeah,
working with couples,
yeah.
couple psychodrama. What is the situation of it now?
Um, well, also with that model, we are working together with Leni Verhofstadt. She's the founder of this model. And we are working together to find a way to use it while working online. Because Leni is invited, I think, in Poland, and she will have a workshop there. So she's very curious, and she wants to know, like, how can we do that? And at the same time, I'm working with another colleague and trying to educate in this model and educate how to use that online. So funny thing is that Leni is like over 80, and we were working together online, and we arranged 2 clients for her project together. And Leni used her model while she was working online, and it went wonderfully. So also with that model, I am really busy. Like, uh, how can I put that into working online and make it a meaningful instrument?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you're now more on structuring, or maybe restructuring it to online format. Do you take clients for couple psychodrama with it now online?
Yeah, not online. I did not have enough clients to do that online. I work with a model offline,
Mm-hmm.
and especially, yeah, people have to get used to it. So being in the observer role and keeping your mouth shut and only observing can be a very difficult task for people in conflict, couples in conflict. So now, well, during the pandemic, my clients, they are lesser and lesser. So people are, yeah, I don't know. I had a company with which I was working, and they do not deliver as much clients as I used to. So my clients are, yeah, diminishing. because of the pandemic.
Yeah, it's sad.
That's sad, yeah. Yeah. That happens.
Maybe that's the one of the reasons you moved to working with trauma.
Yeah. Yeah, the disadvantage also delivers an advantage. So suddenly I had more time to be educated in the therapeutic spiral model. And that's my biggest activity now.
Yes.
And I love it.
So your nearest event will be neurobiology of trauma?
Well, actually, I'm giving 2 workshops in projective identification in groups. So this is really, really special when working with a therapeutic spiral model. You know about projective identification, but it's a psychoanalytical concept, and it is there's a lot of things written about it and how it works between client and psychotherapist or client and psychiatrist. But nobody uses this the way that we are using it in a therapeutic spiral model. And even the people who are in the working with the TSM model, they are not really sure about what it is that we are doing. How do we do that? How is that working? And what is the basis? The basis is normal development, like a child is projecting to the mother and the mother is giving it back to the child. It's a normal development process. And I give 2 workshops about that. Yeah.
So if I may ask, what's the main difference what you give in working with TSM that others don't?
The simultaneous protagonist. So not one protagonist, but everybody is protagonist. That's the biggest difference, I think. Now, working with the projective identification, so everything that is happening in the group, everything that people are feeling at the side of in the audience is used. So everything is used, and the strength, the basis, working with strength, with strengthening people. Also in their body, not only with compassion, looking with compassion to themselves, but also feeling the strength in their body. So we do a lot of spontaneity exercise, movement, relaxation exercise. And also we use things from the polyvagal theory, like breathing exercise.
Yeah, so it's quite content with different aspects.
Yeah.
And when I was searching also about all your nearest workshops and past, I found it all on PsychodramaQ.
Yeah.
And as I understand, it's your own establishment.
It
right?
is, yeah. It is my company. I actually founded it because I'm also educator. I'm educating people in psychodrama on different levels. So in Holland, I am one of the 11 people who are trainer, educator, and practitioner. And I have my own training institute, which is PsychodramaQ. And I collaborate with the accrediting organization for people who want to be certified practitioner in psychodrama.
Great. And how many years are you founding this?
I think since 2012.
No, great.
Yeah.
Next year you may have an anniversary.
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ina, for sharing. And I have Blitz questions, which are 4 questions that I will be asking to every my guest. The same questions, yeah?
Yeah.
So first question is regarding the continent that you're coming. In your opinion, how would you describe the condition of psychodrama in Europe?
That's a difficult thing to answer because there are so many countries in which the situation is different. For example, in Austria, the situation is that psychodrama is educated on the university. It's a modality in psychotherapy. But in Holland, where I'm from, it is not accepted. There are 4 mainstream psychotherapies, and psychodrama is not one of them. And psychodrama is looked at as, it's an alternative. It's an alternative therapy. And they tend to look down on it a little bit because only psychotherapists who are educated, we are educated too, but yeah. And in Belgium, they educated in the university. I know that. The situation in Germany is different because we in Holland work with the CP title, the TEP title. They do not do that in Germany. It's arranged in a different way. What is difficult to describe, I don't know how you look at it, but psychodrama can be used as psychotherapy, as counseling, as coaching. They can use it in a group. They can use it in theater. They can use it in a wide variety of professions. So it is difficult to pinpoint, like, this is psychodrama and these are the psychodramatists. They are so different.
So, as I understand, in Europe, there are different levels, different approaches, and even the maybe legal levels.
Yeah.
I see. And to go a bit personal, what is psychodrama for you?
Psychodrama is really important for me. Why is that? Because it fits with the attention it gives to thinking, feeling, and acting. This combination feels like, a sort of holistic. It feels like, because I used to be a thinker, I still am a thinker, but thinking is just one part of life. There's also feeling and acting, and I feel it's a really balanced way of looking at people. And I profited a lot from the attention on feeling and on my body. And that's for me personally. In my profession, I noticed that it's working so quickly. I can use it, and within a few minutes, I have because people can talk for 1 hour about their problem, and in 5 minutes role play, they get stuck, and that's where people want to learn, and that's where people have to create their spontaneity and creativity. And I have fun. I have a lot of fun doing it, and that's really important for me too.
Yeah, so psychodrama is kind of unity of your feelings and thoughts.
Yeah.
When was the time, and how did you feel as a protagonist for the first time?
I don't know exactly anymore. I know one of the first time that I was a protagonist, which was really, really meaningful. And that was when I went back to some scene in my past, lying on the staircases, crying for attention, and nobody was coming. This was like a really deep experience for me because I remember that I gave up because nobody was coming, and I gave up crying and I gave up shouting. And I had a really good experience, not because of creating this scene, but recreating the scene with a good enough mother or an ideal mother who was there when I was shouting and I was crying. And I think that's a really beautiful part from psychodrama. So you have this corrective experience, and it's the beginning of further development.
It should be very deep for you if you remember it so well. Yeah.
That's why I still remember it.
Yeah, good. And the last question, if you met with Moreno, what would you say to him?
What would I say to him? I have played Moreno several times.
Wow.
That was beautiful experience, yeah. What I would say, and that's also what I did when I was playing him, what I would say is how wonderful his focus was, how wonderful the focus on spontaneity, creativity, using play, using action, and the focus on everybody is a genius. I really like that concept. Everybody is a genius. Everybody is a creator. Everybody has it in himself or herself to be spontaneous, to be creative, and learn in this way how to live your life. So the positive attitude of him, the positivity, the playfulness, that's what I would compliment him about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the speech coming from your heart.
Yeah.
It was nice to hear your new activities, what you're planning, what you're doing. I believe it will be all great, and hope we'll meet in Berlin in September.
Yeah, I would like that, Janzaya. Yeah.
And thanks for having a time and coming for an interview. And it was the first episode of the podcast Psychodrama with Nomad Girl with Janzaya Ahmed. Thank you very much for listening. You can support the podcast on patreon.com, and see you in the next episodes.